18, 2023 to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Fry?
Here.
Mr. Hanson?
Here.
Mr. Needham?
Here.
Mr. McCann?
Here.
Mr. Richardson?
Here.
Ms. Scott? Here. Mrs. Westfall? Here.
All 7 members of City Council are present, therefore a quorum does exist. We welcome our 2 guests this evening and invite you to join us in our Pledge of Allegiance, this meeting led by Mrs. Westfall.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions to the agenda. I have no items this evening. Mr. Fry.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Other members of City Council, additions to the agenda. Seeing none, Mr. Sanford.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Chief Miller.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Schroyer.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Aller.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Or Ms. Bryant.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
With that there's no changes, so like a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and our agenda is set. Agenda item 4 is approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting on December 4th. Mr. Fry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move adoption of the meeting minutes for the council meeting of December 4th, 2023 as submitted. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve those December 4th, 2023 minutes as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and those meeting minutes are approved. On to agenda item 5, water rate increases. Mr. Aller, would you like to speak from there or come around?
I can.
This one, however, we didn't. Are there any questions from members of City Council? You can come on. Well, you don't need to come up unless there's questions, I guess. The chairman of the committee is shaking his head no. This is ordered legislation.
Mr. Eller, I appreciate your remarks and answers to the questions from the previous meeting.
We do have, first off, proposed ordinance 97, 2023, raising our water rates. Mr. McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce by title only ordinance number 97-2023, amending the codified ordinances of Sylvania 1979 as amended by increasing water service charges per 1,000 gallons from 8 and 41 100ths to $8 and $7,500 for the city users, and from $10.51 to $10.94 for non-city users. I move for passage of ordinance number 97-2023 as an emergency measure.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded for passage of ordinance number 97, 2023 as an emergency measure. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and ordinance 97, 2023 is enacted as an emergency measure. On to agenda item 6. This is also ordered legislation to increase our sewer rate charges for both industrial and non-industrial city and non-city users. Mr. McCann, if you're comfortable, we have ordinance 98, 2023.
I'm comfortable. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce by title only ordinance number 98-2023, amending Charter 925 of the Sylvania Codified Ordinances by amending Section 925.05 sewer charges levied to increase the sewer charges for both industrial and non-industrial city and non-city users. I move for passage of ordinance number 98-2023 as an emergency measure.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded for passage of ordinance number 98, 2023 as an emergency measure. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and ordinance 98, 2023 is enacted as an emergency measure. We are up to agenda item 7. This is proposed ordinance 99, 2023, amending chapter 735 of our codified ordinances. Ms. Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was a request from the Chief of Police to amend our Section 735.03B subsection 3 to provide that if the applicant provides a record check, currently the state, if they get it from the state, it says that it's valid for an entire year. Our license is only valid for 6 months, so there's been a little bit of, we've been getting a little bit of pushback from one of the applicants, and so we want to just tighten up our code to make sure they're getting the record check within, that's dated within 30 days if they want to submit it. So that's what the reason for the request to the chain to our Section 735.03.
And otherwise, they pay.
Right. We can do it for them at the time they apply for the license. This is a case where the applicant had a background check, submitted it, but it was dated more than 6 months prior. So, as you know, a lot can happen with people in 6 months. So, we want to make sure that the records are the most up to date.
Only by experience.
Mrs. Brining,
Yes.
just to clarify, the applicant is responsible to provide their own background check?
They can. If they've already gotten one done, they can provide it, or we can run it and just charge them for it. So if they've, most municipalities have the same code section, so sometimes they just run it one time and then provide copies to the other municipalities. So that's the reason they would already have one.
But it must be fresh.
Right.
Fair. That makes sense.
Any other questions? Mrs. Westfall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 99-2023. All members of council have received it in advance. I'll read by title only. Amending Chapter 735, canvassers and solicitors by amending Section 735.03, sales on private property, license, registration of the codified ordinances of Sylvania, 1979, as amended. I move passage of ordinance number 99-2023 as an emergency measure.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for passage of ordinance number 99, 2023 as an emergency measure. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and ordinance 99, 2023 is enacted as an emergency measure. Agenda item 8 is proposed ordinance 100, 2023. This is making certain adjustments to account allocations within our 2023 budget. Mr. Schroyer, why don't you go over this one?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this is the annual end of the year adjustment ordinance. These are transfers that we're making within funds. They do not affect the fund balance or the cash position of the fund. One thing I wanted to make a special note of is the original budget that council passed for 2023. We stayed within that budget in all operating and capital funds. So it was just moving money within the funds, but we stayed within the budget for all the funds.
The finance department is very good at predicting our expenses, but it is not a magic ball that can predict every change in employment and things like that. So the main bottom line again, to repeat, no additional funds were spent, and there's no effect to the bottom line of the city's budget. Are there any questions? Mr. Fry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 100, 2023, and read by title only. To make certain adjustments to account allocations within the fund appropriations for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2023, I move for passage of ordinance number 100, 2023 as an emergency measure. Second.
Been moved and seconded for passage of ordinance number 100, 2023. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and ordinance 100, 2023 is enacted as an emergency measure. Agenda item 9. This is updates to our application for the systemic safety program going on around the city for new rectangular rapid flashing beacons in front of Highland, Sylvan, and McCord, and adding Southview. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. ODOT's systemic safety program was launched in 2022 within the Ohio Safety Improvement Program, or HSIP. We have a project where we would replace the existing rectangular rapid beacons that are in front of 3 schools, actually 4 schools, Highland Elementary, Sylvan Elementary, McCord Junior High, and Southview High School. This project or program is a 90-10 program, meaning that you can get 90% of the total cost of the project. That's another change. Typically with ODOT programs, you can only receive funding for construction, but this program is 90% of everything. So the total cost of the project is estimated at $1,274,700. We'll be requesting $1,109,070 in grant funding, and then we would be responsible for the remainder. If approved to move forward with the application, we'll start design late next year in 2024, and then schedule construction for 2026.
These beacons will be similar to the beacon installed at the River Trail on Maroon Road.
That's correct.
The expense to the city is not that high.
How old are the existing?
About 11 years old. It is the rapid flash beacons was a relatively new thing in 2012 when they were installed. And ODOT is finding them to be less than effective.
As a regular driver along McCord Road, I can tell you that when a child pushes the current flashing lights, they are often ignored. People don't know what to do, and they're not that big of a deal. The ones hanging over the road that flash at you with 3 red lights get your attention.
Well, the one on Erie, it's the same thing, so I'm glad to see this.
Any further questions? We do have resolution number 20, 2023, to authorize us to prepare and submit an application. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce resolution number 20, 2023. I will read by title only. A resolution authorizing the mayor and director of finance to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Department of Transportation's Systematic Safety Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required. And I would move passage as an emergency measure.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for passage of resolution number 20, 2023 as an emergency measure. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and resolution 20, 2023 is enacted as an emergency measure. Mr. Aller, are these funds, I know there's limited funds for everything, but this is a different, this is not competitive as far as I'm aware. These are funds that are already available?
The funds are available. There is some competitive component to it, but not the same as like the CMAQ funds and TIP funds and things like that. It's a little different program.
So even though it's not a sure thing, we have a good chance.
We're we've been working with ODOT through the entire study process and the application, and I would be very surprised if we don't end up successful with this.
All right, we're now up to agenda item 10. We have the Planning Commission's recommendation about a proposed ordinance 96, 2023, amending Part 11 of our Planning and Zoning Code. Ms. Bryman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Planning Commission met last week to consider the council referral of the wholesale bakery definition and also creating a special category for a special use of wholesale bakeries in our code, and recommended that ordinance be approved. The public hearing has been previously set, so there's no action to be taken at this time.
Public hearing remains February 5th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in these council chambers. There is no action to take tonight. Mr. Hayden.
Leslie, would you check the number of the definition?
Oh,
I
sure.
looked in the code and I didn't see a 9 and 10. I saw an 1101.108, but I didn't see an 09 or 10.
Okay, yeah,
Check.
I will check that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I may have been looking at it wrong too.
No, that's okay. I appreciate that, thank you.
On to the second page of our agenda, we're up to agenda item 11, and this is also a report back from the Planning Commission about the change of the zoning for that property. Again, the Planning Commission's recommendation is there for you to see. It's recommended to recommend to council to approve the recommended change of zoning, but we have to wait for the February 5th, 2024, not 23, as it shows on the agenda there. Make that right. Okay, I missed that, sorry. Before we can make that zoning change. Any questions for the law director or myself? Is all the Planning Commission's recommendation? Okay. Agenda item 12 is Oakland Court improvements. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oakland Court is a project that in the past we applied for and were successful in grouping with the next project that we're going to talk about. But it's basically a reconstruction of the entire length of Oakland Court. The estimated construction cost is $549,654, and we have $189,380 of that being funded with an OPWC grant. This project was included in the 2024 budget, and we would not advertise or award the project until 2024. But we just wanted to get, in order to be able to get it to the blade in time to be published and have that time frame, we're looking for permission to advertise now. And then the actual construction will not begin until July 1st of 2024 due to the OPWC agreement.
Oakland Court is, of course, right across from Falls Hospital. It has been a deteriorating concrete road for 20 years or more. And we have gone in and done replacements. We've replaced concrete sections. The cul-de-sac at the west end is too small for our refuse trucks and recycling trucks to clearly make it without going up on the curbs. And Mr. Allen was able to build that into our OPWC grant and has gotten partial funding, which is a good deal. This will be a difficult project for the residents because their whole road will get torn up. But this occurred a few years ago on a couple of roads on the north side of Levine, and the contractors were able to manage the project to get people down. Any questions? Okay. Mr. Richardson, we need a motion to authorize the administration to advertise for bids.
I move to authorize the administration to advertise for bids for the Oakland Court Improvements Project.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and administration is authorized to advertise for those bids as recommended. Agenda item 13, Main Street Reconstruction Project. Mr. Aller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This project is one that we've talked about in the past. It's basically a full reconstruction from curb face to curb face, from 10 Mile Creek to Convent Boulevard. We'll be taking everything out in there, new storm sewer, under drains, and then the pavement will ultimately be reconstructed with 2 reduced width lanes, a road diet, and have bike lanes added on each side. The existing traffic signal that's at St. Joe's will be, we'll have another pedestrian hybrid beacon signal in there. And everything being done at approximately the same time that Oakland Court is. The estimated construction cost of this project is $1,047,061. We got $367,620 being funded with an OPWC grant, and $400,000 being funded by a Surface Transportation Block Grant. So about $767,000 of a just over $1 million project with grant funding. This is the same thing, 2024 project. We plan on bidding this and opening bids the same day as Oakland Court. We're kind of anticipating that contractors will be coming out. Both of these projects are something that can keep a crew busy for pretty much from July to the end of the season. And we're hoping that one contractor will come in and go after both of them pretty aggressively. We won't be able to begin construction until after July 1, again, because of the OPWC grant, but that's why we're coming out early. If we wait until we get closer to July, contractor will be full. So we want to get on the books early. So that's why we're asking for permission to advertise right after the first of the year.
There are also sanitary sewer improvements that are being made in the area, Mr. Aller.
That is part of large diameter sanitary sewer lining, our third phase of the project that's already been bid and awarded, and that'll start up. We just had some emails today about getting a pre-construction meeting the first week of January, and then the contractor will be getting started up on that project.
Mr. Mayor. Question for Mr. Aller, just as far as traffic flow, will it remain two-way during construction, or will it be a one-way?
There will be periods where we'll have one-way construction. We'll never close it down completely. We'll always have one-way traffic available, though.
I've got a question as well. This was a part of the road diet study that was done previously, correct? So
That's
there'll be the, if I remember correctly, 2 bike lanes on either side, or is it 1 bike lane on one side?
A bike lane on each side of the road.
Okay.
Yep, in each direction.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Eller, again, how long did you say the construction would be projected to be?
It'll take place, we'll probably get it going right mid-July, and then it'll probably take a full construction season, so it'll be through October. Yeah.
Obviously, that is a main north-south thoroughfare in a city where we don't have that many good north-south thoroughfares, and serves the St. Joseph Parish. So we want to keep it open both ways as much as we can, Mr. Aller. But can't do it. It's not Camelot here, definitely. Okay. We need an authorization to advertise for these bids. Mr. Richardson.
Yes, I move to authorize the administration to advertise for bids for the Main Street reconstruction project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and it is authorized to advertise for bids for this Main Street reconstruction project. On to agenda item 14, approval for one city vehicle to go to Gov Deals. Mr. Aller.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we finally received a fully constructed vehicle that was actually approved as part of our 2022 budget. We finally have it outfitted with the salt and bed equipment and everything else. So now we're able to move forward and sell the vehicle that it was intended to replace, which is a 2007 International Navistar dump truck, and we plan on posting that on Gov Deals.
Any questions? Mr. Fry, motion to authorize advertising on Gov Deals.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion to allow the administration to advertise on Gov Deals for the 2007 International Navistar dump truck listed in the memo from Mr. Aller on the 18th of December. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and that advertising on Gov Deals is approved. Agenda item 15 is, are there any committee reports to be made at this time? Or committee referrals? The informational items are both the Architectural Board of Review and Municipal Planning Commission. There is your third quarter report from the Division of Vehicle Maintenance to be added to the ones that you were distributed a few meetings ago. With that, we're at the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and we stand adjourned until our next meeting at the beginning of 2024. It's on January 2nd. The organizational meeting for council will be at 7:15, and the regular meeting of council will begin at 7:30.